Welcome to the Pick Truth podcast, where we read confessions that people send us or that we find online and rate them based on the level of heat.
A truth can range from a bell pepper to a Carolina Reaper.
All right, let's get started. Hey folks, this episode of The Truth may describe topics and or language that may be sensitive to some. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back. This is your host, Dr. Vicky Harris. I'm here with my co-host,
LaMont Hearn Jr.
And this is the Pick Truth podcast, and we can't pick truth without you.
Absolutely.
That might just come out because it was really random and not good, but okay. I have two today. One of them is serious and a big dog, like scary monster one.
Okay.
It's a reaper, but it kind of speaks to mental illness. And the other one is just a question mark. I would be interested in knowing what you think and then what other people think about it. So What do you got this week?
Yeah, I've got two. One of them is just really weird. I can't even tell you where it's at on our scale yet because I'm still trying to process where I am. And my second one is a little more heartfelt, so I don't know if it's going to be as spicy as I want it to be.
Okay. All right. I'll go first. So I found this truth on Reddit, and it reads, "I think about killing my parents a lot. Am I normal? My parents and I have had a difficult relationship. They've always put immense pressure on me to succeed and punish me very dramatically for small actions. I just turned 16 and I don't remember the last time I had a birthday party because they always find some dumb excuse to ground me on my birthday. I'll get grounded for weeks if I get anything below a B on any assignment. My mom is a total neat freak and will freak out over the slightest speck of dust or the slightest thing out of place. And my dad is an insane workaholic that believes any time I spend not doing some form of work is wasted time. CPS has visited my house before. CPS has visited my house before because once I broke down in class and told them about the physical abuse I faced at the hands of my father. And when they interviewed my older sister and my mom about it, they convinced the social service lady I was lying. My sister was never abused by them, as I was, and usually takes their side. She's in college now, so I don't see her very often. Once I turned 15, I began to seriously think about murdering them. I've even written plans down in case I one day snap and do it. I know how I would make it look like they were still alive long enough so that I could run away, the route I'd take, how much money I'd need, and what I'd do if I got caught. I'm still a minor. I won't go to jail for a long time. I'm not a psychopath. I love a lot of people. I have friends I care about, but sometimes I don't think I'd feel bad if I killed them," I think her parents. "Every time I have these thoughts, I feel more and more okay with them, and I feel less and less ashamed of myself for thinking of them. I don't ever think of hurting anyone else, just them. I've asked them to put me in therapy before, but they refuse to. Am I normal? How do I make these thoughts stop?" Wow, I know.
That's a lot to unpack. I mean, you said the right word in therapy there. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this the right way, and I'm going to try to grade it first, or rate it rather.
Okay.
And then kind of go from there. I do feel like as a flat statement is not far-fetched for a lot of kids or children, just based on interactions between parents and children. Now, where this deviates is I think that this person really might feel that way more so than
the average angsty teen.
Yeah, like there's a lot more layers to this one than someone just being like, "Oh man, you wouldn't let me go out for the weekend." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I will definitely say this one for me definitely is very high, just because what it could be. I don't want to say I'm judging the person because when you take into consideration what they're kind of being put through, it's hard to want to be judgmental there. And I also don't know if I'd want them to keep it to themselves based on our scale. I definitely feel like this is one that you need to tell. So again, based on our scale, it'd be hard to say a Reaper because I don't want to tell them to keep it a secret. But as far as like the actual spice level, that is definitely a Reaper.
I would agree. I would say this is a Reaper just because, murder,
Right.
Reaper. But I thought, how many people, how many kids are out there that are sort of in the same predicament?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not a parent, it's an aunt or an uncle or whomever,
Yeah.
some level of guardianship
like an elder.
over you,
Mm-hmm.
and that you despise them because you feel like they're abusing you. Now, if you snap, I would say snap is like in the moment.
Right.
But if you got plans, that's premeditation,
Yeah.
boo. Like that, if they pull your Reddit account, this is I hope this is a throwaway account because that's premeditation.
Yeah, because this is here. Hopefully you did this under a VPN because if not, they can track us back to your
this is premeditation, and I guess it's not funny.
Right.
It's not funny. I guess, bummer. Like I could at least had a funny one, Vicky. But if there are people who are experiencing the need to feel like really want to hurt somebody, they need to get help.
Right.
So if this happens to be you, if you happen to be one person who's like, I'm gonna kill my wife, cousin, dog, cat, neighbor, go get some help.
Yeah.
Beyond judging you and the lightheartedness that we do with these confessions, we also recognize that these things are real for some people.
Absolutely.
And yes, I find humor in anything because I have an inappropriate sense of humor.
Same.
But it's these kinds of confessions that scare me, that they're reaching out for help. Now, we know that there's always we have to take everything with a grain of salt. We all know that these are people putting their confessions out there. Some of them could be made up, and we're just going on the premise of, okay, we're going to believe what you say because why would you? We're going to believe what you say because, we can't really validate all of everyone's confessions.
Right.
But I just thought this was one of those ones that it's a little bit more somber. It's a little bit more real. And she has a plan at 16.
Yeah.
Brain's not fully developed.
Right.
She might have some other underlying issues. Her question was this normal? No, it's not normal to want to kill someone or to be in that situation. And I really do hope you get help. So I'm actually going to keep following that Reddit chain to see if there's any updates. If there are any updates, I'll pass them along and let you know in the weeks coming how things go with this particular confessor or this person who had their truth read. But yeah, I guess that was somber. So hopefully your next one is a little bit more fun.
Yeah. I want to get to my next one, but I do want to say, as far as this situation goes with this person, the unfortunate part is that they've asked for help. I do want to state maybe you need to reach out to a school counselor or someone else because clearly, as far as your parents go and even your sister, they weren't really willing to help you in this instance. And that's very unfortunate. As both of us have went through therapy and dealt with those type of things, that is very much so something important. So I do want to mention that.
LaMont and I have known each other for the last 10 years, but our childhood experiences were very similar in the level of abuse and trauma we experienced. This is probably why we get along so well and have such a warped sense of humor. So to be in a situation where the people who are entrusted to take care of you aren't doing that and are causing you harm, I can relate to that and I can understand that.
Right.
But I didn't ever go to the point of wanting to end anyone's life.
Right, exactly.
Other than my own. So that I had suicidal thoughts and all the other good fun stuff. And I'm way better now. And, you're as a teen, you're angsty. So I guess, maybe it resonated with me that you're going through abuse. And again, perception is everything. Because sometimes people think they're abused and it's just they're not used to being told no.
Right.
So I don't know her full circumstance, but the thought of having a plan scares me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, okay, so my babies are little.
Right.
What happens if I run across their diary at 16 and they have got a plan? Like, all right, first I'm going to go to Grantee's house. And then I'm going to go to Granny's house and stay with them for a little while and let them know I haven't seen mom and dad in a couple of days. And we're up here moaning in the bed. Like, that would be horrible but why do you have a plan?
I'm locking doors.
Why do you have a plan to take me out?
Yeah, but definitely try to seek help. It's definitely important, and Vicky, any updates you get on that, please let us know.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to bring some levity to the situation with my next story. It's a very weird one. This one also comes from Reddit. I have a stomach growling fetish. I have a fetish for when a girl's stomach growls from digestion. I first got the fetish back in like 2013, and I feel really bad about it. Am I a freak for having it? And normally we just stick to the confession, but I have to read one of the comments. Someone wrote back and said, want to buy a 3-hour recording of my belly. I swear it has its own orchestra thing going on. It's so loud at times that I have to drown it out with music.
I'm sitting here stunned-faced because I'm trying to think, how do you stumble across that as a fetish in the first place? How does that become like your... I've never even heard of this. Like, okay, let's stop. Confessions. Where do we put this? Is it harmless? I mean, it's weird. Okay, I think everything is weird. And by the way, I am weird, so yeah. I am a certified weird person, and I can absolutely recognize weirdness. It is weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
But it's a bell pepper.
Absolutely.
It's a bell pepper because, I mean...
Like you said, it's not harmful.
As long as you're not out at, like, at a buffet, just going up to people and having a stethoscope and just putting your stethoscope up against someone's belly to hear their digestion.
Right, that's invasion of privacy. That's getting somebody's bubble. That's weird. But like you said, I started to wonder how he stumbled across this being a fetish. Like...
Were you laying on your significant other's belly and you heard it and
right.
And it triggered you?
Yeah.
People are weird. Like, that is weird. I've never, ever heard of that before.
That is the full level of embracing your kink.
Yes.
Because, I mean, when I read it first, my initial instinct was disgust. I'll admit. But then I had to really scale back and go, well, but is it really that gross? And I had to think about it. And so I did actually go listen to my own stomach growl.
Okay, I was going to say, what are we listening to?
No. Nothing that crazy. And I was like, I don't get it. But it could be because it was my own, it didn't do it. I have no interest in trying any further, so let's just leave that there. But I don't know. Maybe he was on like a tour somewhere and people were hungry. Maybe he was on a college tour. Sometimes they can be kind of long. They were waiting, they didn't get to the cafeteria. Somebody grumbled, and he just got really excited.
I want to ask him questions. So I would love to have a confession that someone calls in and we can ask them the questions we really want to know. Because, like, I need to know how this started.
Right.
How do you convince another person to let you listen to their belly while you get aroused? Like, how does that come up? Like, hey, what you into? I like this, I like that. I like feeding you a whole bunch of food and listen to your belly digest. Like, what?
Wait, hold on. Go back. We're not going to zoom past that. I need you to stick right
start off with, I like long walks on the beach, and I like holding hands and poetry and listen to bodily functions and
particularly the sounds of digestion. Wait. Go back from bowling. Go back before that. Oh, you mean the walks on the beach? No. Come forward. The fact that you want to hear my food digest. It was very interesting. Like you said, to me, it was a bell pepper as well. It definitely wasn't something that I was like, oh my gosh. But at the same time, I don't know if you do tell that to everybody.
So I have a theory about kink.
Right.
I think that whatever you like, as long as it's not hurting yourself or someone else or an animal, that's my constant disclaimer. If that's what you into, go be into it. And you should be with people who are comfortable with being into it. No need to live your entire life repressed because, you like to listen to this. You have a certain kink that it may not be mainstream, because let me know how many people out there are listening to digestion as their kink.
Yeah.
But I really do feel like you should be with people who have the same interests as you. Don't live your life. If that's what you need, go do it. I mean, there are a lot of, I've heard some stuff, but that one's new. That one goes in my new. Yeah. We actually now need a sound effect that's like, boom, you got me. Yeah. I've never heard of anything quite like that before.
I agree. I feel like, and it's weird because like you said, at least it's not like starvation. So I guess that's one detail that you can say it's not harming anyone. It's digestion. So I wonder if he deviates there. There's questions. I would love to actually reach out to this person and see if they can provide more information on it.
That's crazy. That was crazy. If you're done with that one, I'll go to my next one.
Absolutely.
So my next one is a lighthearted.
Okay.
Since the first one was all heavy, my first was heavy.
All right.
So this one is titled "Growing Up." Less often now, I would smell every woman's shoe or sandal that came into my house.
Ew.
My parents had a no shoes in the house policy. Everyone, even adults, had to take their shoes off at the front door before entering. Whenever my older sisters or parents had friends over, I'd sneak to the door and sniff and pleasure myself to different women's shoes and sandals. I still do it now, but not as often. That's the confession. That's the confession. Okay, so where are we getting these? Literally, these are Reddit, and we hope people start to send in their confessions.
Absolutely.
But yeah. I don't even, again, this goes with the kink. Be you. If that's what you need. But then, like, did you violate my shoes? Like,
see, the pleasuring yourself to it is the part that got me. Like, I'm not against you figuring out whatever your kink may be. But my concern here is, so if you had a party, like, we've got together before and we've had like the whole crew and everybody be around. If you got a lot of women's shoes right there, does this person go on overload? Like, there's questions. Does he have to just handle his business right there? There's a lot of questions.
Are you sneaking the shoes up to your room or into the bathroom for private time? The smellier the better? The sleeker the better? Like, what is it? You like wide shoes? Do you like narrow shoes? High heel shoes? Shoes and sandals. It really didn't sound like he discriminated. So, like, and then there's so much. Like, what are you doing with these shoes? Are you just sniffing them and then... I don't know.
It's almost as if the soles hit his soul.
Stupid.
I'm just saying. It's just, that's a lot. Like, that's a lot. Like you said, he doesn't seem like he discriminates. He didn't really indicate that a certain style of shoe was his preference. So I guess he kind of works through every season. He doesn't have a season where he's off. And now that I think about it, I would say it's probably more strange than the digestion. If I had to put, again, not judging, but if I had to put them for my own tiers, I would have to say that at least the idea of the digestion is just something I can kind of go, okay, it happens. But you taking someone's shoes, probably sneaking off like Dobby did with the ring, and you're hunched over and you're going at it. That seems very weird to me. Especially, could you imagine if you were trying to leave to get your shoes?
And I can't find my shoes. Like, where are my shoes? Am I seeing my shoes?
And then you go, where's Ray at?
And they come back sticky. Like did somebody spill some lemonade on my shoes?
Imagine if you had Velcro shoes and they couldn't Velcro anymore because they were...
Okay, I know it's inappropriate. That's too far. But... yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it feels going over someone's house and I can't find my shoes. And okay, it would be crazy. You at Uncle Bob's house and he comes out of the bathroom with your shoes like, oh, I found them in here. Stuffing his shirt back into his pants. And yeah, that would be weird. So again, I recognize weird. And I just thought, hey, that I needed something to offset the very first confession that I had.
And
so
you did it.
Yeah, that one was there. Although I've heard of shoe fetishes, still have never heard of the grumble in my stomach. And then, like, what if? Okay, this is.
No, it's okay.
Wait a minute, I gotta go way back because now. What if you have bubble guts? Like, is bubble guts like his ideal date? Like,
but like just tips him over.
Yes, like look at that, listen to that belly. No, baby, stop running to the bathroom. I need to.
He's holding your arm, won't let you go. He's just real quick. That's so much.
Okay, sorry guys, sorry. Back focus. Back focus. All right, sir. What is your next truth?
Okay, so my last truth is, I will say, nowhere near as sad or crazy as we've been in right now, but I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate to this one. This one says, I'm jealous of my best friend's looks. We've been friends for about 3.5 years. When I first met her, we looked about the same. Same skin tone, both pudgy, and they're the same weight, and both kind of decent faces. She lost 60 pounds that year, and I was happy for her. And although it would have been nice, I wasn't jealous yet. She's lost more weight this year and has like no excess fat. Also, she's a lot better at makeup now. She sent me some pics of a makeup look I sent her a while ago, and in those pics, it's hard to believe it's even her. She's just so pretty. Her hair has grown out tremendously as well. Honestly, her boyfriend doesn't even deserve her, not because of looks, other things. I'm very happy for her, but find myself jealous that she's so attractive now and I'm still me. I feel bad that I'm jealous. It's not exactly a virtue.
Okay. All right. So I would rate this confession as a bell pepper.
Absolutely.
And here's why. I think we need to normalize people having all levels of emotion.
Right.
And jealousy is one of those emotions.
Yeah.
And I think that we are told so frequently, you shouldn't be jealous, don't be envious, you don't be a hater. Well, like, let's not sabotage someone else from winning, but jealousy happens. And sometimes we're like, oh, and it can motivate you, like, you know what? I'm jealous. You lost 60 pounds and you look good and you're feeling good. I think I want to do that too. Can you help me? It's motivating me to do better.
Yeah. As long as you're not Tanya Harding people. You're fine.
Right. Tanya Harding people. And if, you're not trying to sabotage your friend, you're not trying to hurt your friend,
Right.
You're just like, yo, and now she pretty, but you really made it sound like you a mud duck. Like, I just sound like, oh, she...
Like, he was like, we both scum, and then she got cute, and now she's like above the murky water. Yeah.
Like, she's beautiful now, and I'm just me. Like,
right.
Or maybe you need to learn to see your own beauty no matter what size you are. No matter what you look like, you still have some sense of worth, some sense of beauty. So, like, as long as you're not trying to hurt your friend, but because we don't normalize jealousy, I can absolutely go to my friends and say, I'm so jealous of you about this thing. And my friends would know I'm not trying to hate on them or take it away from them. Like, dang, I really wish that was me.
Right.
And I need to get over it.
Yeah.
As long as that's my humblest of opinions. But
I know you all can't see me, but I'm 6'5". So a lot of times I can go somewhere and people will tell me all the time if they had my height, they would. And by they would, I mean anything. They tell me they be in the NBA, they be in the NFL, they do this, they do that. They tell me all these things, and I laugh at it. Because I go, height doesn't necessarily make you skilled at any of these things. And while this isn't necessarily a beauty standard, I know I've heard a lot of times from women that they don't like short guys. So I've noticed from a lot of short guys that there's this, people call it, people refer to it as a Napoleon complex, which coincidentally Napoleon wasn't actually very short, but people wrote about him that way to kind of diminish his value. But that's a whole nother topic. Sorry, that's the nerd in me. But I say all that because it's one of those things where even at this height, I've gotten envious of guys who were shorter than me for a multitude of reasons. I wear a size 15 shoe. It's very hard to go find shoes. And they're expensive. And they're not always there. There's only so many of us who wear them. And most of us are the athletes. So for those guys who buy them early and they're really shoe heads, I have to go and get lime green shoes or cleats most of the time are what people offer me at stores. And, that creates an issue. I think getting comfortable with yourself is also being aware that you can be either jealous or envious of someone else and it not be malicious. Mm-hmm. And you have to learn that there is a happy medium there. Like, you can be envious or jealous or whatever term you need to be about a friend making more money or being in a relationship or whatever it may be. But just understand that does not necessarily lessen who you are. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to separate those two things. That's where it gets messy, is when you start, what's that movie from the 90s, Single White Female? Is that the name of the movie? Mm-hmm. Where you try to start literally taking over
emulate the person and be them.
Right. Try to actually take over,
Yeah, I do think there is a line. And I think that I agree 100% with you. There is a line. If now she's like, all right, so this is what happened. She started losing weight, so I gave Abby some I snuck some bacon fat in her water.
If your friend's drinking bacon fat water, she's got some other issues. This tastes like all the other water I've had. Oh, okay.
Yeah, every time she comes over, I give her extra dessert. I'm gonna make her fat again.
Right.
You know, whatever it may be.
Right.
As long as you're not trying to sabotage your friend or, you know, and harm them.
Yeah.
I think it was a bell pepper. I think there are a lot worse things out there, and being good with who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going. I am who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, ask your friend what she did to necessarily make these changes, and see if they're right for you. See if you're willing to even try them. I mean, that is an option, especially because you know that this person at one point was built the same way that you right now feel less enthusiastic about. I'm trying to make sure I say it's the right way. And just see if they're able to help you get there. Now, even if you don't complete it, just understand you at least gave it the effort.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true. I have this thing on my board in my office that says, "If you really want it, then you will do it." Like that. That is how I feel about a lot of things. If you really want it, then you will do it. But do you really need to?
Right.
I bet you are just as beautiful as your friend is. And by the way, if your friend does evil magic, and puts makeup on her face, and no one can recognize her, what is my husband calls it sorcery? Like that's the way. Like
yeah.
I didn't even recognize her. That's sorcery. She don't look like herself. Like, you know, like, so don't worry. Why are you jealous somebody don't look like themselves?
Hey.
That's not her. She photoshopped her face. First of all, these makeup people are getting fabulous. Do you hear me?
Killing
I'm like,
the game.
I couldn't recognize you at all. Like, if there was a lineup and you took off the makeup, I don't know who you are.
Right. I've seen it. As a guy, that has been always a concern of mine in the past, when I was single, of going out and meeting a lady and she looked one way. And then the next day she looks completely different, is how I will say that. So I agree with your husband. Sorcery is a very good term. So I believe that the whole makeup, community should be called sorcerers and sorcerers.
Sometimes it is sorcery. Like sometimes,
hard.
Like, oh my God, have you ever seen the videos on Facebook where they may be looking at a person and they're taking tape and all kinds of stuff off their face?
Yeah.
I'm like, first of all, I didn't even see that tape. Like they peeling off noses and then they open their mouth, they have no teeth. I'm like, yo, fix that too. Like, quit investing in makeup. Fix those teeth. And listen, you're the one who put your stuff out there on Facebook for me to see it.
Yeah.
And it comes up in my timeline. I'm like, yo, I don't want that kind of sorcery. Like, listen, I'll be burned at the stake. Like, witch. Like, she doesn't look like herself.
Heck no.
Hilarious. Well, I think that's all we have for the week. If you're interested in doing a confession or sending us a confession or even being interviewed on the show, email us at picktruthmail@post.com. Also, if you could support us by checking out our Patreon, as well as liking us and giving us a review on Apple Podcasts. It'll really help us get in the rankings so people can find our podcast. But that's all that I have for today.
Yeah. Also, we are on Facebook and Twitter. The page name is Pick Truth. Also, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you are subscribed.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Later. We can't pick truth without you.
Send us your truths at picktruthmail@post.com to see if you can bring the heat.